today we were sort of blessed with some pretty,
We really were.
pretty good conditions that sort of narrowed our view.
Like if I'm out with my digital camera, I sometimes look at that kind of weather and go, you know what, this is really dull. But for what we were doing today, they're the ideal.
Yeah, I mean, they can be. Yeah. We'll see what happens. We don't know, do we?
Well, they might all be rubbish.
Exactly, we could have, But I think we can happily say that we didn't have any big mistakes today. We didn't sort of really
I think so.
mess up, which is good.
Yeah.
That's a good tick.
The whole experience of looking through the loop and getting that fine tuning in, like on the
ground glass,
Yeah, and being able to look in all the corners really easily, and you can really see when you're just slightly out of focus. It really surprised me.
When you're doing sort of macro or close-up photography, you've got a really good ability to throw everything else out of focus. It's really quite amazing.
So have you done macro on these?
Oh well, it's close-up really.
Yeah.
It's where when you saw me set up with that my longer lens, I had my bellows out here.
Yeah.
The closer you get to it, the more dramatic that throwing the background in and out of focus is.
Yeah.
And you can use the camera movements as well to tweak that, which is pretty
nice.
cool. So we played a bit with that today, but there's more. These have an image circle that is bigger than the film, and that's what lets you tweak it. But actually, when you're bringing the lens further away, it should be getting bigger. You just need to adjust your light.
Yes.
Let more light in.
Yeah.
So,
always.
if my bellows have passed their standard extension, then I need to adjust.
It's a lot more technical than it looks.
There is a bit of technique, but it sort of becomes second nature. If you're in a dark forest, shooting a waterfall or something, and your exposure's like 3 seconds, there's a lot of light lost between the lens and the film. If you've got a 15-second exposure on your light meter, the bellows, the reciprocity failure will mean you've actually got to expose it for minutes.
What's your favourite style of photography?
I love Tasmania, firstly.
Yeah.
And I love Tasmania's wilderness areas.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm classically sort of drawn to. The big mountains, but the plants as well. Like every part of the environment, I guess, that makes up these places, and the adventure of getting there. I've got some ideas. I'm quite sort of creative. Yeah. Outside of that I'm working on.
Okay.
That are a bit of a twist. Yeah.
Keeping it quiet.
I am because I want to make sure that it works before I go and But I also quite like architecture.
Yep.
But I haven't been shooting any of that sort of thing.
Would you use the large format with architecture, or are you more?
That's what they were designed for, really.
Oh, really?
Large format cameras, to a large extent. Buildings, when you point your camera up at them, the top comes in. So the idea with these is that you can have your film plane and your lens plane vertical, and then you can use the other movements of the camera to fit the.
So you can eliminate the perspective. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need a large format camera to do that anymore because, Lightroom or one of the other programs offer it.
How do you prefer to frame your photographs?
I probably follow similar sort of rules that they teach you in a textbook in terms of composition. Like there's some things that I'd go to, the rule of thirds, using lines to sort of draw your eye in, and with black and white you don't have the colour that having the composition sort of work within the shades, a sort of a view that just feels right. When you point the camera at it, you sort of know.
Yeah, you do.
You think, oh yeah, that looks really satisfying.
Yeah. So when we were up on doing the rocking stone, you were moving around quite a bit. Was there something in particular you were looking for, or was it just getting a couple more elements in the frame?
So I took a couple of images there.
Yeah.
The first one I was probably the most happy with. The camera was set up fairly high.
Yeah.
And the focus, as well as being the stone, and it was sort of silhouette, but then there was behind that a nice cirque that had the cloud sort of floating through, and
nice.
quite interesting sky.
Yeah.
So we'll see what sort of comes of that. There was another image I took there, which I think will be not quite as good.
Okay.
But it had a nice. There were some boulders that were just sitting in front, and again, the rocking stone silhouetted against the sky. So I'm sort of imagining that'll be darker. The foreground could be quite moody.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
there's quite a bit of contrast. So I'm not holding my breath
Okay.
for that particular image, but we'll
Right.
see.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think I sort of never go out with a sort of certain composition in mind. It's always I'm just going to
See
what happens. Play it by ear.
Yeah.
Different
I think
days,
that's a
different
safe
conditions.
bet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if nothing comes up, then I've had a great walk and
Yeah.
it's good exercise.
That's right. You're not
So-
disappointed. No.
No, never.
You're outdoors first and then photography. Is that right?
But yeah, look, I love being outdoors.
Yeah.
I like the physical aspect of it, and having a nice heavy camera to carry around helps with that.
Yeah.
I really like Tasmanian plants, so I've got that aspect that I like looking around and thinking, oh yeah, that's a nice tree or
Yeah.
a nice bush. I wonder, if that'd look good in my garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of, my mind's all over the place a little bit, I guess. And then I think, oh yeah, that's a good photo to take.
Yeah.
I do try and focus on the photography aspect, because you don't want to carry a lot of gear around.
Oh no.
And it's so satisfying when you get a real cracker.
Yeah, it is. You know, if I'm carrying this around with me, and I'm just going snap, snap. That's really nice. Click there and whatever. I might not remember a few of them or half of them. Whereas the time you're taking to use these cameras, you remember, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can think back. You remember how warm it was or how the wind was blowing. Or,
Yep.
So they're sort of, it's good memories.
So we did this. I can't remember the name.
Scheinflug rule.
Scheinflug. Oh, I'll get
I
it
hope I
one day.
pronounced that right. Yeah. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Scheinflug. When did you find out about this, and how long did it take you to nail?
I've known about it since using a large format camera.
Yeah, okay.
Learned about it at TAFE when I was studying
Yeah,
photography. And we used to practice it there on the large format cameras we were using.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, it's a really handy, amazing sort of a rule. But this particular camera does it at a whole nother level. Like, it's designed specifically to be able to do that really quickly and easily. It's quite easy to do on that thing. It's really simple to do on this. It just gives you that ability to get sharpness from really near to really far. Without needing any change in your aperture.
And no focus stacking.
No, that's right. What's that?
Exactly.
No, I don't mess around with such things. The Scheinflug principle itself is about getting it sharp from here to here, and spinning the depth of field plane from being vertical to horizontal. Yeah.
Right. How far can you go?
Oh, well, literally from here to infinity.
Really?
If you're on the same plane, would be sharp at 5.6 or whatever the lowest.
Incredible.
But only very narrow, same width as you would have.
The possibilities that it opens up are incredible.
Yeah, well, with sort of the macro sort of style, when you're using, you're right in on a flower or something, then.
Do you have any favourite pictures you've taken over the years?
Yeah, there's a few favourites.
Yeah.
And there's a few locations that are favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my recent work, I think, that I've taken in the last 3 years has been what I can really sort of resonate with, and that might just be you just change with what's current.
Yeah. What are your favourite locations then?
Well,
And that's their secret.
no, they're all Tasmania. Mount Anne is really special, and you know what? I haven't ever taken my large camera up there.
Haven't you?
No. I'm always a bit too scared of what it's going to do to my knees on the way back down.
Of course.
There's a few spots up there that I know quite well that compositionally really is really just this wild, incredible, harsh sort of environment where you can get this changing light and, you know, horrible conditions one minute and then beautiful the next. And then there's places like, you know, Pine Valley where there's, dolerite and really amazing ancient trees and specky waterfalls. We're sort of spoilt, really. And here, you know, up on the mountain, you know, it's right on the doorstep. And
well, that's right. Where we are right now is, 15 minutes from the city? Yeah.
And we've been out across the top all day, and how many people have we seen once we left the car? Like maybe 2.
Was there some sort of situation you got yourself into to get a photograph that you probably shouldn't have? I can
happily say that no, I'm very risk averse when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm pretty well prepared. Like I often am out by myself, so I'm really careful as to you know, what I'm doing, where I'm going, and I don't want to be putting myself or others in danger for doing something stupid. So no, I can happily say with my photography, I've personally not put myself in any position. You know, I've been in some pretty sort of wild conditions. I'm comfortable probably with the legs hanging over the side, and I'm comfortable sort of scaling up around cliffs and what have you. A little bit harder sometimes when you're carrying a bag with your camera in it. And if I'm setting up for a shot, well, adjustments that you need to do to the camera mean you need to be sort of back off the edge, and it's not like you can stand up with the camera above your head and sort of click the button to get a cool angle. There's some limitations there, but you know, I've been at the Blade down at Cape Pillar, and I've had the legs of the tripod right on the edge of the cliff, but I don't like standing right out where some people do with their camera above their head like this.
Because that's how I am. I don't mind being there, but I won't spend any length of time, and I certainly won't be putting myself in a position just to get a shot.
Trying to remember what I used to have as a kid when I first started film. It was an old Rolleiflex thing. Took 35mm film, small fixed lens, but it was only it was fit in your pocket size. But there was controls with aperture and I suppose with shutter speed as well.
Yeah, okay.
It was a good little thing.
Yeah.
But from there, upgraded slowly but always been film. I've not had a digital SLR. I've managed to avoid that. I've got a couple of Nikon FE2s. So that's what I used to take probably back in the 90s. One with black and white, one with Velvia colour slide film, and an array of lenses.
That's a lot of weight.
Well, you know, is it? You kind of, well,
yeah.
I traded to something heavier, that one. And the movements give you so much sort of creativity with your subject.
There are things that you can do on these that, unless you're spending a lot of money, you can't do on digital.
One of the things was how big you can enlarge an image off these. So they were typically used for really big sort of poster and banner. I've not pushed one to that sort of size, but I'm keen to sort of perhaps have a go at it.
Yeah.
And how that compares to the sort of size that you can push a.
But you look at Dombrowski's work, and that's the same. wasn't it?
Yeah,
Same size.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly the same.
And
Yep.
you regularly see those blown up in incredible sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I've no doubt that they can do it.
Yeah. You haven't considered going into like the really large format with the glass plates?
Yeah, I have thought about the glass plates.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Sort of a process.
So you
but
make
no-
them yourself, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You coat them with a, some sort of a chemical in the darkroom. The availability of the cameras in Australia, there's plenty of 4x5 cameras.
Yeah.
And you can find plenty of spare parts. Film's getting harder to come by. I need to order it in.
One thing I wanted to know was, we hear a lot about medium format. I don't really know what the transition is between medium format and large format.
Yeah, sure. Well, the three most common formats would be 35mm,
Yeah.
which is like what most of these digital cameras are,
Yeah.
like an SLR. Then you've got medium format, which is a different sort of a camera to this. This is called large format. It's all to do with the size of the negative. A 35mm camera, that 35mm comes from a measurement on the
one
size of the
side,
film.
yeah.
Medium format cameras are typically 6x6 or 6x4. That's a roll film as well, by the way.
Yeah.
35mm, a medium format, shoot roll film, whereas this shoots sheet film.
Sheet film, yeah.
So we're talking about 4x5 inches.
Yeah.
So the
Okay,
size of it's substantially bigger than 35mm and quite a lot larger than medium format.
Yeah. I know I lust after a couple of medium format cameras.
Yeah.
Like really, but I can't afford the $60,000 to $100,000 for them. I mean,
Are you talking digital?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you can get a film camera medium format for a lot less than that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
The film's a little bit more expensive, and it's
It's an ongoing cost.
Yeah, yeah, quite a few running costs,
Yeah.
but it's good fun. One of the amazing things about shooting film and then processing it yourself, and then taking it to the darkroom and printing it, and then framing it yourself, is you get to do every little piece from the concept right through until the finished product, which is really pretty nice.
So there's so many different kinds of film. What's your go-to?
Ilford Delta is a 100 ASA film, that black and white film. The idea with that is to really fine grain. So if I am enlarging something for a art piece, then I should be able to blow it up the size of this table, for example. 100 ASA film, you need to let more light in compared, so tripod's important, and if you're in a dark forest, your exposure times can get pretty long. So that's the consequence. It's always 100 ASA. I don't want to have the complication of, when I'm reading the light, or if I'm changing between films, I can make a mistake, and I have,
For sure.
not ideal. And I mentioned I do take a couple of sheets of Velvia, Fujichrome Velvia, 100 ASA with me, and they've been in my bag for a little while. But one day I'll find a really nice shot that I think will look sweet in colour, and I will use that. I think the film expired in 2003, so we'll see. We'll see what the results are like. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. How tolerant is film after it's expired?
Black and white film seems to be very tolerant. I've shot some really old film that's well past its expiry, and it's been fine.
Okay.
A big part of it's how it's been stored, I think. So, and the other thing I've done is I've shot film years ago and then not processed it for a long time.
Right.
And it's been fine, no problem.
Yeah, okay.
So that's really interesting. I think colour film is probably less tolerant. And I know that the Velvia that I've got in my bag hasn't been sort of stored as as recommended on the box.
Yeah.
You know? So
It's been carried around everywhere, has it?
for sure. Yeah. You know, it's probably been a bit overheated at times and a bit cold at others. I mean, technically, if you were storing it long term, you keep it in a really cold environment. That's the preference. But I think I've just decided that the black and white's really what I'm most interested in, and that's the direction that I've taken.
We've taken hopefully some good photos, and obviously you'll develop them and print them out on something. What do you normally do with your photos once you've taken them? Like, do you put them up on a wall, or?
Yeah, good question. So the idea is that they don't just end up in a dusty old drawer somewhere. I should probably point out that I don't have a darkroom anymore, so any printing is now done after having a digital scan made, and any post-processing on that.
Yeah.
But then, you've got a digital thing, which, like other digital photos, can just end up on the hard drive of your computer. But the slides are still in my...
Are they?
In my, rooftop storage. Probably not the best place to keep them.
I was going to say, stored really well?
No, not stored well at all. I'm a bit hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, I had quite a few large format black and white images from the 2000s through until, or probably from 1990s, late 1990s through until the mid 2000s. I can't find them anywhere. Oh. There's some real crackers, but beats me. Don't know where they are. They're in a box,
Yeah.
I'm not a hoarder.
Yeah.
And things are pretty well organised. But I think what happened is I thought, these are important. I'll put these in a really safe spot. So I put them in a special folder somewhere, and then that's...
So important. You've forgotten. I think we all do that, don't we?
Yep. I'm working towards an exhibition next year, so pretty excited to be sort of showing some work and showing the results of what can be printed from large format photographs, and in black and white too. So the idea is that that I can create some artwork that's sort of one of a kind sort of images that hopefully have some appeal.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the exhibition. Are you planning on any particular style or theme?
It's going to be that landscape, Tasmanian sort of theme. That's going to be the focus that shows some of the mountains, some of the rivers and the waterfalls and the flowers. There's sort of lots of opportunities to sort of show different ways that this format can be used.
When is it and where is it?
Okay, Side Space Gallery.
Yep.
In February 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not too far away.
It's not. No, I've got a good 6 months to get it all together. My last solo show was in the Side Space Gallery back in 2000. So it'll be 25 years. Between shows. It's a bit too long, really. But I've had a really good time along with doing other things. My last show was colour.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first time that I've really I'll have a chance to really focus on the black and white, which is what I really have always sort of preferred.
And is there somewhere we can find the pictures from your last exhibition?
There is a book. Yeah.
Oh, there's a book.
So I won the Dombrovskis Award for nature photography back in 1999. A few years later, the award was annual for about 4 years, and then a group of the four of us who were the first winners of it, we had another exhibition travelling show and published a book.
Brilliant.
And there is still a few copies of the book floating around.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
And do you have a copy?
I do. I've got a box of them up, which I've been sort of giving away. Occasionally I'll find it for you.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. Well, we spoke about Dombrovsky before, and but especially with Tasmanian photographers, he's a major influence in most of us landscape photographers.
You know, as a kid, we used to cut up his calendars and into posters, and they were all around it, you know, all around your room, sort of thing. So,
so he was your rock star.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You know, you look at some of those photos that he used to take of places that you've been, and you think, wow, how did he get that angle, or how did he make that look? As well, black and white has always been a pretty big hobby of mine, so I am pretty much shooting only black and white these days. Dobrovskis wasn't into black and white.
No.
But yeah, the likes of Ansel Adams and others, any number of 4x5 photographers that shoot black and white. You know, we've talked a bit about technique and the like today, and a lot of that comes from Ansel Adams.
He was a real scientist, wasn't he, as far as it goes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much he experimented and really investigated how to get the best out.
And even though a lot of people have moved on to digital, there's still quite a lot of niche film. You know, you can only capture so much of a scene, and you want certain subjects to be a certain shade of grey or a colour.
It's really heartwarming to know that, you know, the work that someone had put in all that time ago to still be relevant today. Yeah.
Someone's being rescued.
Now there is one more thing we have to do.
Okay.
I have to take a picture of you.
Oh, brr.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you. It's been a wonderful day. You know, from that reasonably early morning start and biding our time waiting for the gate to open, and the more frequent stops than I was expecting too. It's been really lovely.
Well, thank you, Pete. I've had a really great time as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's been good fun. Yeah, nice to have some company.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's nice to sort of share the fun
The full
of
experience.
using a camera like this.